I'd like to do today is bury two myths that have been circulating lately. The first myth is that the Community Reinvestment Act caused the financial crisis. And the second myth is that working with troubled homeowners to reduce foreclosures lacks urgency and may be akin to a fool's errand. I think we can agree that a complex interplay of risky behaviors by lenders, borrowers, and investors led to the current financial storm. To be sure, there's plenty of blame to go around. However, I want to give you my verdict on CRA. It is not guilty.
Sheila strikes back. The FDIC chairman trying to take back the offensive in her battle to modify home loans. Bear saying, don't blame the foreclosure folks, help them. So is she right? Well, let's ask one of the experts in this industry. Welcome back to Real Estate Honcho and Happy Hour regular Richmond McCoy. He's the CEO of UrbanAmerica. And you got a lot of deals going on.
Yes.
Well, let me get your reaction first to the chairman of the FDIC, Sheila Bair there. She's saying, you know, I was on Hannity and Combs' show last night. Sean Hannity's adamant that the Community Reinvestment Act, you know, the effort to try to get banks to be more open about giving loans to minorities, low-income folks. Not saying that they're saying, hey, give anybody loans. They're just saying, hey, take that approach. They're saying this is what caused the whole housing collapse and then the economic meltdown. Is that true?
Sean's wrong.
John's wrong. See, Sean, I told you were wrong.
Let me give you some dates and some figures. Okay, CRA was implemented in 1977. So the loans were being made to low to moderate income communities starting then. We didn't have the type of crises that we have in the housing market that really started just 5 years ago. So it wasn't CRA's fault. In addition to that, most of the loans that are now in trouble were really manufactured and acquired by Wall Street, not the typical banks. And indeed, the CRA loans come under a lot of scrutiny, and they're much higher to be regulated. And many of the loans were diverted from CRA so they would get past that. So the issue really wasn't CRA.
Yeah, I say it was more the whole, these creative type of mortgages when you had the, you know, no doc loans, you have the option arms, you had the Alt-A, and everybody was getting these loans, Eric.
Yeah, but there was a push in Congress. Don't forget, Barney Frank, when he took over, the Financial Services Committee, when he took over, there was a push to get loans out to people, to moderate to low income households, to enable them to partake in the American dream. That had to help fuel this fire, though.
Eric, it absolutely did. He put a lot of energy behind it, a lot of PR behind it, but I really think it created a false cover for a lot of the risky loans that were done, and people just kind of threw it all into so-called subprime. Most of the damage was done by these undocumented mortgages and speculators going in. They call it all subprime. But when you look at the real facts of it, those deals weren't done in the low to moderate income communities. Most of them were done in suburban, middle, and upper income communities, but it came under the cover of the push for CRA.
Yeah, I read someplace actually, Richmond, that said that, you know, people who were getting a lot of these fancy creative loans made over $50K. You know, that's not low income, and it was this whole pressure, you know, to repackage this and re-securitize this. So, you know, the greed on Wall Street to make a money. I mean, you know, they're trying to make money. Maybe it's not necessarily greed, but that effort to hurry up and let's do some more deals.
It was greed.
It was greed. Okay.
It was greed. A lot of people became very wealthy from it, but now we're all paying the price today. You know, the Fed's making a big move to reduce interest rates, and I think it'll start to give a chance for some recovery in the housing market.
All right.
We should talk about Richmond's deals, though, real quick.
Go ahead, Richmond. What do you got going?
A few months ago, we were buying a large office portfolio from an Australian REIT, and we finally closed it 2 weeks ago and got it at a very good price. Long-term existing debt. That's the only way to buy real estate today, assumable debt. So it's going to produce a very healthy cash-on-cash return for our investors starting day one. And that's really the place to look today.
It goes to show that deals are being made out there.
Well, the access to credit was the issue. You didn't have a hard time accessing credit, right?
Well, I wouldn't have gone after the deal if it didn't have the existing credit, and we were confident that we could get approved by the existing lenders. And that was an arduous process, but ultimately we were stronger than the entity we bought it from.
And I also read in part of this deal making that you made sure that they were government tenants, because they're not going anywhere. Are they on long-term leases?
Yeah, long-term leases. We're confident of their credit.
And where are they? Where are these
The properties are in Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia, Sacramento, San Diego. And it's a mixture of government tenants, you know, the VA and the environmental control, a lot of different tenants in there, so it's a mixture.
Let me ask you about you know, another thing that Sheila Bair, you know, she's on this whole movement to get some assistance to the homeowners to prevent foreclosures, and a lot of the people on Capitol Hill and on Wall Street are saying, you know, the Treasury Secretary, the TARP guys are saying, no, this is not the problem. We got to work the Wall Street, get the Wall Street wheels moving again. But she is adamant, and has been for a while, that it starts at the home mortgage level, the homeowner.
Yeah. She's missing a part, and indeed many of the loans that they've restructured under her program, 50% of them have still gone into foreclosure. So what's really missing is that the principal needs to be reduced. You could reduce someone's interest rate and their payment amount, but if they still know they have a mortgage for $300,000 and the house is only worth $200,000, they still kind of scratch their head and say, look, I think I'm going to walk away. So really, Wall Street has to be involved. We have to do something with the bondholders. There has to be a collective effort to reduce the ultimate principal. And there's some very interesting plans being kicked around.
What about the plan to push mortgage rates down to 4.5%? FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie, through the government pushing that interest rate down. Is that going to eventually trickle down to a 4.5% mortgage rate for anyone on the street?
I think it will, ultimately, but by itself, it still comes with a very strict underwriting for credit. You know, you're looking at a 680 score. Very few people are going to be able to get that, but it will attract people to come back into the market. It will get the refinancing done.
But will it get other people to loan? Will it get the banks to start loaning for mortgage?
I think what the Fed did yesterday, yes, because once again, we're appealing to what? The greed factor.
Yeah.
So the banks can make such a huge spread and get the fees back in again. I think this will work, and obviously he's going to open up all the spigots to get this capital moving in. We have to stop the foreclosures, but it's not one simple solution.
Yeah, because, you know, all these foreclosures, you know, we see on the banks doing write-downs now. They're going to continue having to do write-downs for the next 2 years because of all these millions more foreclosures. And I've been saying all along on this show that we really do need to help the homeowner, help Main Street. But the one thing, Richmond, that I don't agree with is having to reduce their principal, because you know what? If you bought a house for $300,000 and the value has gone down, it's just as if you bought a car, or you bought a piece of jewelry, or you have bought a piece of artwork. You know, you made the deal, and if the value goes down, that's you know, on you. The onus is on you.
It's like this poor creep here who stole everyone's money here in New York City.
Yeah.
He was a fraud. The mortgage process, the housing process has been rampant fraud for the last 5 years. You had crooked brokers, you had crooked appraisers, you had crooks on Wall Street making up numbers, not doing the underwriting. So the whole thing lacked integrity. So and the values aren't there. This problem is huge. That's going to have to be part of the solution.
That's a very good point. Okay, Richmond McCoy, CEO of UrbanAmerica. Thank you very much. As always, good to see you.
Thank you.